What habits did you give up to be the successful person you are today, and what habits did you create?
To be an athlete or now?
Even an athlete and now, absolutely, because I'm pretty sure it's two different.
Well, I don't think I really had to give up any habits to be an athlete because that started young. I played football from the age of 6 to the age of 34 consecutively.
Okay.
28 years. So I gained habits over time. So I guess I'll talk about that. One of the things that you talked about earlier is you don't have to recreate the wheel. And I think as I came up through the ranks, I learned from a lot of good athletes, a lot of great coaches, and I think a lot of those guys added on to my game, so to speak, as I came up the ranks. One in particular, when I went from college playing receiver to being drafted in the NFL as a tight end, I got drafted out in Denver to the Broncos, and I played behind a great tight end, one of the greatest of all times, Shannon Sharp. And if you guys know Shannon Sharp, you know Shannon Sharp wasn't any kind of blocker. And if you knew me early in my career, I wasn't any kind of blocker either. So I looked at a guy who couldn't block, but got the job done, and I said, okay, well, if he can't block, he's been here, and he's a Hall of Fame type of tight end, I'm going to learn from him. And he taught me some of the best little moves just to get in the way of a defensive end, just to slow his feet down, just so we could have a cutback lane for the running back. And throughout life, I've been able to pick up a lot of things, and you're talking about mostly just great advice. Something that I think has carried me farther than anything else in life was a piece of advice that I got from my high school coach after I dodged him for about 3 weeks. Ray Lewis, linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens, played at my high school. He had just graduated. I was going to be the quarterback the next year, and Coach Joe said, hey, we need you out here every day working on this. It's because we depended on you. But we also, like I said, we lost Ray Lewis. We wasn't going to be as good the next year, and I knew that. But we also had a basketball team that was ranked number 1 in the state. It was going to be ranked number 1 in the state the next year. I wanted to spend more time on the winning team. So I dodged football most of the spring and a lot of the summer, doing a lot of basketball stuff, dodging my coach. My coach was 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds. And I was about 6'2", 180. Didn't want to have a confrontation with him. So whenever I would see him, I would go the other way. But this one time in the hallway, we made eye contact, and it was no getting away from him. And back in the day, you know, you could jack somebody up, and your mom would say, well, you should have been doing what you're supposed to be doing. and the coach didn't get kicked off campus or get fired for doing that. So he came and he roughed me up a little bit. He got me up under the collar, right up under here. And
it's like you're visiting it right now. It's like you.
Yeah, I feel it. My throat is getting a little tight. But he went off and was just telling me how irresponsible I was being and how much people was counting on me and how much people was relying on me and how he as a coach was relying on me and I was letting him, the team, and everybody else down. And I mean, he said it in much harsher words than that. And a tear started rolling down my eye, and I think he kind of started feeling sorry for me. But I think at that point, when he started feeling sorry for me, he wanted to kind of build me up a little bit more. And best piece of advice that I've ever gotten, he said, son, all you have is your word and your name. Once you lose that, you have nothing. And he let me go. He let my neck go. And he just walked away. And since that day, from going from my sophomore year to my junior year, I've been living by those words ever since. Have a plaque at my house. Someone asked me, what's the best piece of advice that I've ever received? And that's it. And I think adding that on to who I am as a person and living by that is probably the biggest thing that's ever been told to me. And I think the reason why. I mean, people like Gary would even reach out to me because just always protecting your name and always protecting your word.
And I think that's key, especially our generation, when it comes to accountability. That's kind of, what it alludes to, and it's a lost art, unfortunately. So I appreciate you saying that. Anybody else? Or, because I know you all have habits that are really good. Maybe, I don't know.
A very opportunistic entrepreneur and very optimistic entrepreneur. So I think I can make any business work, and for a time, right? I thought I could make any business work. I was successful in this paving thing, and I like it. I was very passionate about it, but I thought, gosh, every business is very similar. Marketing, the finance, operations, they all kind of consist of the same thing, especially in the dirty businesses that I ran, right? Paving, and then seal coating, and then roofing, and the things we do, trucking. But I learned that I got to quit chasing flashing, shiny objects, and I have to focus on what we're best at and what I'm most passionate about. Because I'm not always going to find somebody that's as passionate to buy a business, run a business as somebody else. When you can do that, that's great. If you can find somebody that's passionate and support them in a business, that's great. But it's not always going to work if there's not as much skin in the game or whatever. So for me, it's being a little more organized, chasing less shiny objects. Right, Cheryl? My wife has watched me do this a lot. And it's kind of the same thing personally. I'm very competitive. I'm not great at anything. I was a pretty decent athlete in high school, but otherwise I'm not, just not spectacular at anything. But I think I could beat anybody in basketball, and I'm not that good. But I can tell you, I'd come after you anyway. Even though.
Play every Monday and Wednesday.
See, there you go. So I was playing until I'm getting old now. But I was playing in leagues and stuff like that. And I'm really not very good, but I still think I am. And ping pong, pool, anything. I think I can beat anybody at anything, and usually I can't. But I'm very competitive. So in the same respect, personally, I would, hey, honey, I want to get in this pool league. I'm going to be in this pool. Well, I'd get in 3 pool leagues then, and I'd get in tournaments, and it was taking time away from the family. Or, hey, honey, this basketball league thing is starting up. Or, bottom line is, I think I can get in anything. I think it could be anything, and you don't have enough time in your life. So focusing on what you're most passionate about is the key. And I'll say one thing. You mentioned what somebody said to you, right? That was impactful in your life. Kind of, it's kind of a little bit the same thing, that really got me focused on this paving thing, right? I had friends of mine there in college, and they're all going to graduate, and they're all going to make a bunch of money. Well, I was digging holes and grading driveways and paving asphalt and concrete and stuff, and I hear my friends say, Rabine, are you going to be a ditch digger all your life or what, right? And I was like, gosh, I'm a little embarrassed, but I kind of like this thing. It's kind of fun, I think I can do pretty well with it, right? So I was on a driveway one day at about 18, 19 years old, and this guy lived on a lake, and beautiful home again, and I kind of listened to people that are successful, and this guy's watching me grade this driveway, and I was always really fast on equipment, and I could grade and shoot. Didn't need a laser or anything. I could grade a driveway with minimal pitch and slope, and it's a big deal when you do this stuff. And if you do it fast and efficient, you're going to save a lot of money. You're going to make money, right? So this guy watched me the whole time. And after I got done, he goes, man, I've been in the construction industry all my life. I've never seen anybody on a skid steer, like call them bobcats, whatever, as efficiently as you were. I said, well, thanks, I appreciate it. He goes, you really love that, don't you? You're really passionate about that. I said, yeah, I really like this. It's a lot of fun, He goes, well, just remember this. He goes, one thing I'll tell you is, I can see you're passionate about it. Don't listen to, and he didn't know this conversation. He goes, don't listen to what anybody tells you. No matter what you do in life, if you're that passionate about it, you'll be one of the best anywhere, and you'll make all the money you ever want to make, right? So again, this is something, at the time, I knew nobody that made a ton of money paving driveways, right? But I loved doing it, and that stuck with me, right? If I can be the world's best at this, can I make a lot of money? Well, probably, right? So again, that's, I say that a little too much probably, but find something you're very passionate about, and money will come, right?